Imagine, just for a second, sitting down and typing a single sentence into a computer. You press enter, you're not holding a camera, you haven't hired a crew, and you definitely haven't spent weeks scouting a location or freezing outside waiting for the perfect sunset. But somehow, just a few moments later, you're not looking at a static photograph. You're watching a fully realized cinematic scene unfolding right in front of you. It honestly feels like magic, right? Well, welcome to this explainer, where we're going to unpack exactly how this crazy technological revolution actually works. Okay, let's dive right in. Consider a prompt like a lone astronaut walking through an abandoned city at sunset. It's literally just a handful of words, but from those few words, artificial intelligence can instantly conjure up a fully rendered scene. We're talking drifting clouds, lifelike characters, realistic lighting bouncing perfectly off the curve of the astronaut's visor, even little dust particles floating in the air. It's nothing short of a modern magic trick. No actors, no built sets, zero cameras. The whole shebang just springs into existence out of thin air. Which leads us to the central mystery we're looking at today. How on earth can a computer create an entire moving world from nothing but text? Is it just rapidly Googling stuff and secretly stitching together existing movie clips? Or maybe taking a flat 2D picture and just wiggling it around to fix some depth? Actually, no. What's happening behind the scenes is way more advanced and honestly, infinitely more fascinating. We're about to pull back the curtain on how these systems literally dream up reality from scratch. To really get this, think about traditional filmmaking for a sec. For over a century, it's been this heavy, extraordinarily expensive process. You need physical cameras that cost as much as a house, human actors needing makeup, crazy logistics for travel, and days, if not months, of grueling work just to get a few usable seconds of footage. Now contrast that with AI generation. You need a text prompt, some computing power, and literally just a few minutes. It's a lightning-fast, hyper-accessible reality that is completely flipping a 100-year-old industry on its head. Now, an AI video generator doesn't just create one beautiful picture. Honestly, that would be too easy. It has a monumentally harder job. It has to take total chaos, random visual noise, kind of like that fuzzy static you'd see on a broken old-school TV, and transform it into dozens of connected, perfectly consistent frames for every single second of footage. Imagine trying to draw 24 highly detailed, unique pictures for every second of a movie and having to do it flawlessly in just moments. That's the mountain this AI is climbing every single time you hit enter. Section 1. How AI predicts motion, the step-by-step magic. Getting one static image is one thing, right? But making a world actually move and breathe without breaking the illusion, that takes a very specific rapid-fire sequence. Here's how the engine works. Step 1, it pulls that initial perfect frame out of pure static based entirely on your prompt. Step 2, it analyzes every single pixel of that frame and predicts exactly what the very next frame should look like a fraction of a second later. Step 3, it repeats this prediction cycle dozens of times per second, moving at absolute warp speed to build out the final file. So essentially, AI frame prediction is a hyper-advanced version of a childhood flipbook. You remember those, right? Each page is just slightly, marginally different from the one before it. When you let the pages fly through your fingers, your brain stitches them together and the drawings magically move. Machine learning connects each AI-generated frame to the next in this exact same way. It ensures the transition from image to image is so incredibly smooth that our highly sensitive human eyes never even detect the microscopic cuts. But here's the kicker. It's not just blindly copying and pasting pixels. The AI mathematically understands how objects naturally move in the real world. If you ask for a bird in flight, it knows the wings have to flap in a specific aerodynamic rhythm. Ask for a sports car, and it knows the wheels have to rotate smoothly against the pavement while the suspension reacts to bumps. It possesses a mathematical intuition for movement. It's basically like the AI took high school physics and, actually paid attention. Section 2, Mastering Physics and Reality. The rules of the world. Because, let's face it, motion is only half the battle. The AI also has to make sure it isn't breaking the fundamental laws of our universe. Think about the sheer number of physical laws it has to maintain all at once. Water flows downward because of gravity. Smoke rises and dissipates. Hair catches the wind and tangles. Heavy clothes fold naturally with every footstep. Reflections in a puddle morph dynamically as things pass by, and shadows stretch and shift as the sun sets. The AI is running these incredibly complex physics checks on every single frame, simultaneously so our astronaut looks undeniably real. Now, do you remember early AI generation from just a couple of years ago? They were like terrifying fever dreams. People casually walking around with 7 or 8 fingers merging together. faces melting and entirely changing shape when someone turned their head, random objects just popping out of existence, and movement that was just so robotic. But modern AI? It continuously learns from all those past mistakes. Today, we get strictly consistent characters, buttery smooth motion, and rock-solid perspective that holds up even as the camera moves. It quite literally learned the rules of reality. Section 3. The Invisible Movie Director, Planning the Scene. Generating pixels that obey physics is a huge deal, but creating a scene that feels truly cinematic, that requires creative intent. When you typed in that astronaut prompt earlier, you didn't tell the AI where to put the camera. But think about all the unseen choices it makes for you. It decides the absolute most dramatic camera placement. It calculates a slow, tension-building zoom. It dictates how heavy the astronaut's footsteps are, sets the swirling weather effects, and decides exactly which direction that moody sunset lighting is coming from. It acts as an invisible movie director, planning the whole scene before rendering a single pixel. The real reason these outputs look so astonishingly good is that the AI has fundamentally learned the visual language of filmmaking. By rigorously analyzing millions of hours of real video data during its training, it figured out how different lenses create a shallow depth of field to isolate a subject. It learned how shadows stretch longer and get softer during a golden hour sunset. It doesn't actually know what a physical camera is, but it perfectly mimics the cinematic illusion that a veteran human director would capture on film. Billions. I really want the sheer scale of that number to sink in for a second. When you're watching a smooth, 5-second generated clip of an astronaut, you aren't just watching simple animation. You are witnessing billions of mathematical calculations happening behind the scenes. In the time it takes you to blink, the computer has run more calculations than a human could manually compute in an entire lifetime. Every shadow, every accurate reflection, every camera move, it's all the result of billions of operations coming together to make a scene feel vividly alive. Section 4. The Future of Filmmaking, a New Creative Era. So, where does all this immense computational power leave us, the human beings sitting on this side of the screen? Will this tech just replace filmmakers entirely? Well, no. Technology alone doesn't create a great movie. AI is an impossibly powerful creative partner that can generate stunning, photorealistic visuals on command, sure, but it doesn't have a soul. It doesn't understand the human condition. It desperately needs human storytelling. It needs us to inject genuine emotion, to create flawed characters, and to ultimately decide what stories are actually worth telling in the first place. So who actually benefits from this incredible text-to-reality pipeline? Absolutely everyone with an imagination. Teachers can instantly conjure up vivid historical documentaries customized for their classes. A local bakery can make a slick, professional-grade commercial without rending tens of thousands of dollars in gear. Independent creators with massive, sprawling, blockbuster ideas can finally bring those ambitious sci-fi visions to life straight from their laptops. This technology is violently and beautifully democratizing production for the masses. The barrier between your imagination and the screen has literally never been thinner in the history of human expression. The words bouncing around in your head can now become sweeping, high-definition moving pictures in mere minutes. The only real limitation left? Your own creativity. So, I'll leave you with this final provocative question to ponder today. What story will you tell? Thank you so much for joining me to unpack this incredible technology. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe. Beyond AI.